My eyes open blearily, blinking through the darkness, as I slowly sit up and feel around my nightstand for my phone. When I finally find it, I groan at the time. It's a little past 11:30 in the morning. I can't sleep. I know I should be making better use of my Friday night, and I usually do, but I've been feeling exhausted all day, and I can't find a reason why. Pretty sure I got enough sleep last night. I had 5 cups of coffee during the day, but I still find myself nodding off. Maybe work's just really stressful. I've been too busy to notice. It's the only logical explanation. However, as tired as I am, I can't seem to actually fall asleep. I feel like I'm on the edge of passing out, but instead of toppling over the edge, I'm just dangling on top of it. You know that feeling you get when you're about to sneeze, but the sneeze never comes? It's kind of like that. Physically, I'm dead tired, but mentally, I'm all over the place. My brain feels like it's jumping inside of my skull, ricocheting off the bone walls, bouncing in every possible direction. My thoughts are clusters of colorful, indistinguishable blurs that speed around my mind like cars on a racetrack. I find myself picking topics seemingly at random, fixating on them for a second at most, before zipping towards the next one. That weird crack on the sidewalk in front of the house that kind of looks like a smiley face. The cat I used to co-parent with one of my exes. One of my many deadlines I have at work. That one summer I spent at my friend's lake house in middle school. That Spanish class I signed up for a few years ago, but never went to. I trudged down the steps of the cramped little townhouse I call home. Mark! I call my housemate's name, but no one responds. On his nights off, he usually makes a mess in the kitchen and is lazing around in the TV room with the volume too high. Maybe he went out with some friends, or maybe he's sleeping. If it's the latter, I envy him. My foot touches the first floor and I shiver. It's freezing in here. Why didn't Mark turn on the heat? I shuffle into the kitchen and boil some chamomile tea. Put it down in minutes, but it does little to relax me. I pull up my phone and search for different methods to fall asleep, but I have no motivation to try any of them. What does Mark do when he's feeling antsy? He works out. I don't have a gym membership, and there's no way I'm going for a jog in this mid-November weather. As I rise from the kitchen table to rinse my cup in the sink, I catch a glimpse of something shiny out in the corner of my eye. Raising an eyebrow, I approach it, and my eyes widen when I find my keys sitting on the counter. I usually put them on the hook by the front door whenever I come home, but I must have been so out of it that I totally forgot. Must be more tired than I thought. Wait, that's it. I grab the keys, rush out of the kitchen, and race towards the foyer. Grabbing my jacket and scarf from the coat rack, I step into my boots and quickly make my way outside. The air's so cold that I can feel it stinging in my chest. I lock the front door, hop down the concrete steps, and make a beeline for the silver sedan sitting by the curb. A strange giddiness spreads over me as I turn the keys in the ignition, my grin widening as the engine rumbles to life. Nothing like a joyride to clear my mind, right? As the dashboard lights up, I eye the gas and my mood immediately plummets. I told Mark to fill the tank this morning! Whatever. I'm not planning on being out for that long. There's a little over a quarter tank of gas left, which is more than enough for a short cruise. I briefly think about just driving to the gas station, filling her up, driving back, but it's Mark's turn to do it. I'm not covering for him again. Gas is expensive. All I want is to get sleep. Is that too much to ask for? It's almost midnight. I pull the car away from the curb and down the street. It's colder than hell frozen over, so I turn up the heat and the seat warmer. Snow is coming down a little harder now. Few who are unfortunate enough to be out in this godforsaken weather are briskly walking towards their destination with their hands in their pockets, their heads bundled up in hats and scarves. I turn the stereo on and nearly jump out of my skin when the speaker vibrates with pounding drums and crunching guitar riffs. Ugh. Mark left the radio dialed to his favorite station with the volume close to maximum. Rolling my eyes, I wait until I reach a stop sign so I can reach into the glove compartment and find a USB cord. Plug my phone in and find a sleep-themed playlist on my music app. I spin the car around a few blocks, passing by a few familiar haunts. Corner store that makes the world's greatest bagels. The pub my friends and I frequent on the weekends. Even though it's cold as balls outside, it's still Friday night, so the building's flanking the streets are alive with people mingling in bars and clubs. Impatient drivers honk their horns and poke their heads out of their cars to flip off other drivers. There's barely anyone outside, but I can still hear loud music pumping from the various busy hangout spots throughout my rolled-up windows. The lights from the lamps overhead cast a strong glare on my windshield, and I squint in discomfort. The city is way too loud and bright, and at this rate I'll never be able to sleep. There's gotta be someplace quieter, a place without things that'll pique my curiosity or catch my attention. It has to be dull enough to bore me into realizing I have no other choice but to turn the car around and head back to bed. Does such a place even exist? I suppose I could drive a little further out towards the suburbs, where it's a lot less interesting. I could even hit up my old neighborhood and drive by my parents' place for old time's sake. Hell, it just might be so boring that I won't be able to make it back home and I'll have to stay at my parents' for the night. Joking, of course, I'm not that desperate. I eye the gas gauge as I make a left towards the ramp on the highway. And for a second, I contemplate filling up the tank just in case. But I decide against it. This car isn't a gas guzzler, and it can go surprisingly far without eating too much fuel. Plus, it's not a terribly long drive to my parents' place, and if anything, I could just find a gas station there, fill up before coming back home. I'll just force Mark to pay me back tomorrow. Rush hour ended long ago, so the highway leading out of the city is nearly empty. I'm fully aware that the point of this drive is to calm my mind, but having most of the road to myself ignites a sort of frenzy in me. And without thinking, I push on the gas a little more, kicking up the speed to almost 20 over the legal limit. It only takes me a little less than 20 minutes to zip down the road and find the exit towards my old neighborhood. The tires screech slightly as I swerve onto the off-ramp. I'm not too far away from the city, but I can already see and hear a difference. There's a lot more space between the buildings, and most, if not all, of the storefronts are closed, so the streets are dead silent. The only thing I can hear is the drowsy murmuring of the playlist coming from my car speakers. The snow falling over the sleepy town flutters over the rooftops and sprinkles the asphalt. And I admire how pretty everything looks. It's almost like something out of a dream. I'm on my parents' street now. The street lights are farther and fewer in between compared to the ones back in the city, so it's also a lot darker. This is exactly what I needed, I think to myself as I turn a corner, smiling to myself as I pass my childhood home. The windows are dark, but I was expecting that. It's way too late for my parents to be awake. I drive around aimlessly for a while, drifting past a few more streets, idly noticing how the houses are getting fewer and fewer. Sidewalks are empty, and my car is the only one out and about. At some point I make another turn, and the houses end up fading from view completely, giving way to what looks like an open 2-lane road surrounded by nothing but absolute darkness. This comes as a surprise to me. I know it's normal to have a few rural pockets in the suburbs, but I didn't think they'd be this close, and I don't remember having farmland nearby when I lived here. I've only been in this area for 15 minutes or so. I couldn't have gone that far, but maybe this is a good thing. It's so dark and quiet out here that I can already feel the beginnings of drowsiness washing over me. All I need is a few more minutes out here, and then I can turn around and head back home. The playlist on my phone starts a new song. It's a soft piano instrumental. The heat coming from my car is slow and hazy, further tempting me to sleep. This is perfect. The streetlights eventually stop appearing, and the only thing guiding my way are my headlights. It's too dark to see anything, but I'm assuming that I'm driving through an open field. My headlights only stretch out a few feet ahead of me, but I'm catching glimpses of tall grass lining the edges of the road, along with the occasional shrub or two. Every once in a while I pass by a tree trunk, but their canopies are a mystery to me. They sprout up and out into the dark, blending in with the night. It's getting a little too warm here, so I turn the heat down a bit and switch off the seat warmer. My eyes are getting heavy, which is a good sign. They drop to the dashboard. And I realize with a slight panic that I've depleted almost half of the quarter. Time to go home. I stop the car and I perform a 3-point turn. As I back out, my headlights shift to somewhere off the road, and for a brief moment, I see a few feet of yellowing grass, but nothing more. Once I align my car with the lane, I hit the gas and begin my way back. The playlist switches to another instrumental, but it's so quiet I can barely hear it. I twist the volume knob, but it doesn't seem to get any louder. I begin to wonder if there's something wrong with the stereo, but I Remember how loud the radio was when I turned it on earlier? So that can't be the case. Guess the song was just recorded this way. I continued driving for a few minutes, expecting to see streetlights in the distance, but they never come. How far did I drive? Couldn't have been that long. This road only goes in a straight line, so it would have been impossible to take a wrong turn. I reached for my phone and I boot up a navigation app. There's an arrow indicating my location, and it's heading westward down a white strip, which is the road I'm currently on. There's nothing in the surrounding area, just a blank beige space. My phone says I'm en route. Route what? It just says route. No number, no name. Route nothing. I yawn as I type in my home address and hit start. My phone tells me to continue heading west for another 3 kilometers. By then, I should be approaching town. I'm not that far out now, just a little bit more and I'll be back in the suburbs. I set my phone aside and followed its instructions, keeping my eyes on the road and waiting for the first streetlight to appear. My phone says it's going to take 45 minutes to reach my destination, a little longer than it took to get here, but that's because I was speeding like a madman earlier. Sure, there's a gas station on the way. A few minutes later, I'm 900 meters away from the 3-mile mark. Still isn't a light in sight. The arrow on my phone is slowly closing in on the little blue blip on the map, and my excitement grows, but so does my fatigue. I'm so tired. Even though I turn the heat down, I'm still pretty warm, so I pull off my scarf. In 400 meters, keep right on route. My phone abruptly stops after uttering route, almost like it's cutting itself off. There still isn't a name for this damn road. In 300 meters, keep right on route. I don't know why, but my heart begins to pound. I just want to get out of here. In 200 meters, keep right on route. Almost there. In 100 meters, keep right on route. My hands grip the steering wheel, preparing to do whatever my phone asks. The little arrow finally hovers over the blue blip, and I glance at my screen for the next set of instructions. Rerouting. The blip disappears, and the road turns from blue back to white. What the hell? How could it be rerouting when there's only one route? Continue on route for 11 kilometers, then keep right. 11 kilometers? What just happened to 3? The needle on the gas gauge is twitching leftward, and I grit my teeth in frustration. I don't have that much fuel left, and at this point, I just want to go home. I don't care if I don't sleep, just get me out of here. I grab my phone and I cancel the navigation back to my house. I search gas station, and to my relief, the map zones out to show that the road only stretches out for a few more kilometers before it opens back up to civilization. The closest gas station is about 10 miles away. According to the list of directions, I drive down this route for a little bit more, make a left, and I should be in the suburbs. Piece of cake. I continue driving. The playlist is so quiet. At this point, I can barely hear the piano tinkling through my speakers. I try fiddling with the volume again, but it does nothing. I switch to the radio, but all I get is static. Frowning, I adjust the dial, flipping from station to station, but static's the only thing I can get. I'm not that far out, am I? The next town is just a few minutes away. I should be able to get a signal out here. My phone has full bars, so there's no excuse. Also, this heat isn't going away anytime soon, and no matter how many times I fiddle with the temperature, it doesn't get any cooler. Even when I try to turn the AC on, the car's used, but it's not that old. It was in mint condition when I bought it. I make a mental note to bring it to the shop sometime in this weekend. I'm almost at the intersection, just a few hundred meters away. Still no lights, but knowing that there's another direction I can go other than straight ahead is good for me. In 100 meters, turn left. The little arrow finally closes in on the intersection, and I anxiously begin to spin the wheel. Finally getting out of here. But instead of turning into another road, there's a slight thump as the nose of the car dips downward, veering off the pavement into a small ditch. There's no road in front of me, only dirt and more dead grass. I just drove off the shoulder. Rerouting. The little arrow resets, and it's telling me to go west. The intersection that I was supposed to be turning towards isn't on the map anymore, like it magically vanished from view. I zoom out and there's nothing but blank space and a single road stretching out in a straight line. I zoom out some more, and the little road only gets smaller and smaller as it drowns in a sea of beige blankness. It's like the town, the highway, the city, hell, the entire damn world disappeared, and the only thing that remains is this nameless road. Route nothing. Head west on route for 16 kilometers, then keep right. I somehow ended up even further away, even though I've been going in one direction. Maybe I'm supposed to turn around? Wasn't the other direction leading away from town? Westward, he's going back to town, so I should keep going west, right? Luckily, the ditch isn't too deep, so it doesn't take much of an effort to reverse out of it and back onto the road. I switch back to the playlist, and I'm met with nothing but dead air. I skip to the next song, there's nothing. I try playing a song that's not on the playlist, and I'm still met with an unnerving silence that's somehow creepier than static. I need some kind of background noise or I'm gonna go insane. I search for Mark's name on my contact list, I give him a call. If I can't listen to music, then maybe hearing someone's voice might help. The dial tone drones on for a few seconds, and then I hear the click of someone picking up. Hello? I turn my speakerphone on as I briefly unbuckle my seatbelt to shed my jacket as best I can while keeping at least one hand on the wheel. It's really warm in here. Mark! Hey, are you there? Silence. Dude, this isn't funny. Say something. I know you're there. I heard you pick up. Still no reply. Frustrated, I hang up and I call my parents. It rings for a bit, and I hear someone pick up, but after that, there's nothing. Dead air. Mom? Sounded a bit more frantic now. Dad, are any of you there? Is this some kind of sick, elaborate prank Mark cooked up just to spite me? Did he somehow toy with my phone so that nothing works properly? Did he intentionally mess up the stereo and the heater? What the hell is going on? I hit the brakes and I pull over so I can catch my breath. Yeah, don't be an idiot. I tell myself, you're tired. Paranoia is a common side effect of sleep deprivation. This isn't Mark's fault. You're the idiot who decided to drive out this far. You're only supposed to go around a couple of blocks. I glance outward and warily gaze at the stretch of road out in front of me. There's only darkness up ahead, and the darkness to my left and right. I'm sure if I turn around, I'd see nothing but darkness too. I can see a few stalks of grass shifting slightly in the wind, but I don't hear a breeze. There aren't any sounds of wildlife either. There aren't any stars out. So I can't tell where the sky ends and the earth begins. This place is lonely, empty, and it's really starting to get to me. It isn't getting any cooler in here, so I crack open my window a few inches and let in some air. But when a rush of warmth pushes its way into my car, I immediately roll my window back up. My eyes flit to the dashboard and I notice something odd about the temperature. It says it's 23 degrees Celsius outside, but that's impossible. It's November. We're right in the middle of winter. Hell, there's Wait. I lean over the steering wheel and I take another look outside. There isn't a spot of snow on the ground. The bits of grass aren't matted down with ice. I must be so tired that I failed to notice the change in the environment. Where the hell am I? Despite the heat, a slight chill ripples down my back. I shiver involuntarily. My eyes shift around in the blackness, and I begin to grow uneasy. There's nothing out there. I'm sure of it, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like there's something watching. Maybe it's waiting. Waiting for what? The longer I sit here, the stronger my uneasiness gets. Yet the heavier my eyelids become. You'd think all this anxiety would erase any trace of exhaustion left in me, but for some weird reason, I'm getting sleepier and sleepier. I don't know if there's anything out there, but if there is, what if it's doing all these things on purpose? The white noise on the radio, the lazy warm air, the monotonous drive through a seemingly plain country road, they're the perfect ingredients for drowsiness. Whatever's out there wants me to sleep. It wants me to be to be vulnerable, defenseless. I can't let that happen. Just as I shift the gear back into drive, my phone speaks up again. Rerouting. Where the hell could you even reroute to if there's only one road? Continue west on route for 34 kilometers. Then keep right. 34 kilometers? I didn't even move. How did it suddenly jump from 3 to 11 to 16 to 34? My phone must be broken, or maybe I really am going in the wrong direction. I do another 3-point turn. Rerouting. I fight the urge to throw my phone out the window. Continue west on route for 57 kilometers. Then keep right. The arrow on the map is pointing forward, even though it was pointing forward when I was going in the opposite direction just moments ago. This isn't making any sense. No matter where I go, my phone is telling me to go forward, and no matter how far I keep going, I'm not getting any closer to where I want to be. It's almost like my phone is deliberately pointing me in the wrong direction. I pass through more shrubbery and yellow grass. Rerouting. My phone utters and I curse loudly. I didn't even turn around this time. Why is it suddenly changing course? Continue west on route for 82 kilometers. Then keep right. There's no possible way. I couldn't have driven that far out in such a short amount of time. My phone literally just told me I was 57 kilometers away, not even 5 minutes ago. Did I jump into warp speed without realizing it and leap an extra 25 kilometers? Okay, I need to stop panicking. I need to calm down. All roads lead somewhere, right? If I keep driving, if I just keep myself together, I can make it out of here. The gas is running dangerously low, but I can't let that get to me. I need to keep moving. I just have to keep going forward. It's the only thing I can do. I continue down route nothing. I keep my eyes training on the pavement, illuminated in front of me. I can't look left or right or behind me. When I think about looking in another direction, I'm paralyzed with the terrifying possibility that I'll see something out there. Something I'm not supposed to see. The feeling of being watched intensifies as my car peels down the road, and I think about how I haven't seen another car in... How long have I been out? I glance at the time on the dashboard. It's a little past 2 in the morning. My eyelids continue to droop, but I can't fathom how I'm able to feel drowsy in this situation. The last thing I should be doing is falling asleep. I pull one hand away from the steering wheel to lightly slap the side of my face, forcing myself to stay awake, but the heaviness of sleep is weighing down on me like a pile of bricks, and it's getting harder to ignore. I feebly turn the knob for the temperature as if toying with it. One more time, it will get it to actually work, but of course it doesn't. I've noticed, however, that while it's warm, it's not exactly uncomfortable. In fact, it's kind of cozy. It's how you feel when you crawl into bed after a long day and you bundle up in your sheets and blankets. It's a sleepy kind of warmth, which reinforces my theory that someone or something out there is trying to get me to fall asleep. Rerouting. Head west for 101 kilometers. Then keep right. My phone, my car, or this road, or whatever's out there is trying to lead me as far away from home as possible, and it's waiting for one of two things: for the gas to run out, or for me to fall asleep behind the wheel. Both of these things could happen very soon. I turn my high beams on, but even that can't penetrate the dark void I seem to be driving into. If anything, it only gives me a few more feet of light, but that's it. I can't even see the landscape in front of me aside from the road. Everything is pitch black. Rerouting. Continue west on route for 120 kilometers. Then keep right. So quiet that I can hear my own heartbeat pounding. It's just a sliver of gas left, and at this point I'm so tired I can no longer feel the fear festering inside of me. All I want to do is pull over, recline my seat, take a nap, maybe it's just for a few minutes. No, I have to keep moving. I remember how terrified I felt the last time I stopped the car. I can't imagine how much worse it would be if I stopped again. Despite the overwhelming desire to sleep, the thudding in my ears is getting louder and faster. It almost sounds like it's running, like my pulse is trying to catch up with something. I stop the car and I do another 3-point turn, heading in the opposite direction. Rerouting. Continue west on route for 128 kilometers. Then keep right. I make another stop, another 3-point turn. Rerouting. Continue west on route for 174 kilometers. Then keep right. Another 3-point turn. Rerouting. Continue west on route for 193 kilometers. Then keep right. Another! Rerouting. Continue west on route for 212 kilometers. Then keep right. I come to a stop and I angrily slam my hands on the horn in frustration, expecting a loud blaring to tear through the unnatural silence that's threatening to keep me prisoner. I can almost hear it weave through the endless stalks of grass, rippling farther and farther out towards whatever the hell else is out there. I can imagine it echoing briefly for a second. And then, for a moment, I'm strangely relieved. The noise reminds me of the angry drivers who are constantly honking their horns at each other back in the city. It reminds me of human life. It reminds me of normalcy, but nothing comes out. I try the horn again. The car makes no noise. I flatten my palm against the dead center of the steering wheel and press down as hard as I can. Nothing. Dead silence. I laugh as I shift back into drive, and I laugh again, and the red low gas warning light blinks to life on the dashboard. I sound hysterical, but what else is there for me to do? I'm so tired. Rerouting. Continue west on route for 349 kilometers. Then keep right. Mark, why didn't he fill up the tank? Why didn't I fill up the tank? Rerouting. Continue west on route for 461 kilometers. Then keep right. Maybe I should have stopped by my parents' place. Rerouting. Continue west on route for 630 kilometers. Then keep right. I feel my car struggling to keep up. I use my foot on the gas, but I know its time is running out. It's running on fumes just like I am. My eyes are heavier than iron, and I've yawned at least 6 times in the past minute. The endless road in front of me begins to blur in and out as my eyes struggle to remain focused. My grip on the steering wheel begins to loosen. My head suddenly gains 10 pounds, and it's getting heavier and heavier to keep it up. I can't do this anymore. Not now. I pull over to the shoulder and I twist the key, turning off the engine, but keeping the battery on. The headlights continue to stare ahead, showing nothing but the same old road. The longer I stare at it, the longer it appears to stretch forward. It feels like it goes on forever. To infinity. But it doesn't even drop off when you get to the edge, or whatever this is. It probably wraps around the underside and takes you back to where you started, keeping you stuck in an infinite loop of nothing. I shiver involuntarily, even though it's still incredibly warm. I know there's something out there watching me, and I know that it's somehow responsible for all of this. I know it wants me to sleep. I know I shouldn't. But the gas in this car is pretty much gone. I'm gonna knock out no matter what. So why am I still fighting this? What else can I do? There's no way in hell I'm leaving this car. Sleeping may be a dumb idea, but wandering out there without a light of any kind or any survival gear, that's suicide. This car is my only line of defense against whatever the hell is out there. I have to stay inside and keep the windows up and doors locked, but without any gas. Am I all that safe anymore? Maybe a short nap won't hurt. Just a few minutes to rest my eyes and refuel. I'll wake up with a clear head and I'll be able to figure out a way to get out of this. I pull my key out of the ignition. The headlights shut off and I'm engulfed in a thick, inky blackness. There's nothing in front. Nothing in back, nothing to my sides. No breeze whistling through the grass, no late-night owl hooting in the trees, no field mice skittering across the dirt floor, the warmth radiating around me so close in as I recline my seat as far back as it can go. I know I'm staring up at the ceiling of my car, but it's impossible to tell. Everything looks the same without the lights on. The looming terror is festering somewhere inside, almost like it's trying to claw its way out of the dark so it can remind me of what I'm really supposed to be feeling right now. But I'm so warm and I'm so tired. And I'm so comfortable. It's nice and quiet and dark, and for the first time in a while, I feel like I'll be able to sleep. I want to be scared. I want to be scared. I want to be terrified of whatever's out there, if there's anything at all, but I'm physically incapable of feeling anything else other than exhausted. I can feel the chill that wants to shake me down to my bones. I can feel the goosebumps pleading to rise on my arms. I can feel a scream rolling around in the pit of my stomach, but none of these things actually end up happening. I'm simply too tired for them. I set an alarm on my phone to wake me up in 10 minutes. Don't even know if I'll be able to hear it, if my phone's capable of making any sound at all, but it doesn't hurt to be safe. I place my phone on the dashboard and I lean back once more, finally closing my eyes. It'll only be for a little while. I'll wake up soon enough. What's the worst that could happen? Hey there once again, kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I just wanted to give you a big thank you for watching tonight's video. If you guys ever wanted to help support the show, you can always do so if you watch the show on youtube.com/MrCreepyPasta or find the MrCreepyPasta Storytime podcast on iTunes, on Google Play, and on Spotify. And also, if you ever want to check out my wife's tea shop, it's etsy.com/ivorymonocletea, where she sells hand-blended herbal teas in the theme of Dungeons & Dragons and Harry Potter and Final Fantasy and the like. You can find the link for it, as well as many, many, many other links in the description down below. And, drumroll please, a big, big, big thank you to everybody supporting me at patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. People such as Taysia-lynn, Genobaga-Arneho, Daniel Poulsen, Trace Miles, Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Wayne Milstead, Dr. Strawberry, Chompski, Ken Lando Higuchi, Brianna Tine-Janzen, Nicholas Saeid Alyain, Buddy Burroughs, Stephen Van Huss, Kai Albertson, Goonington, G. Weevil 3, Chance Burnett, Diane Kraus, Asia, Gabrielle the baca, TheRedOakShieldVirus, Sindee Barney, Titty Connoisseur, really? Titty Connoisseur? Melissa Sweigart, Dante Rao, Last Blade Song, Cross Rights, The Ginger Bros, Eliminator 86, Andrew Steinberg, Jason Sistma, Holy Realm, and Rafael Rodriguez. Thank you so much to you guys out there on Patreon, to all of you listening to either the podcast or the YouTube show. And that is everything, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and sweet dreams.